What's going on, YouTube? I am Germ here. In this video today, I'm going to be talking about why nothing really matters, why everyone is freaking out about so many different things right now, and they're all probably wrong. Like, I know in general, that's probably an interesting or funny statement coming from like the clickbait YouTuber who makes a video every single day freaking out about this topic or that topic. But it's also, coming from the person that is generally pretty optimistic about Counter-Strike in general. You know, I'm one of the few people who still thinks Paris is going to be okay, supporter of that, supporter of cases, and just kind of all the skins in general. And I think the CS market is going to be just fine in the long term. So obviously, you know, I've made a lot of videos talking about how I think a lot of the negative people and the doomers and stuff like that are pretty annoying and just kind of historically wrong. The CS market has largely just been historically good, and there's no real reason yet to believe that anything's going to happen otherwise. But even people on the positive side of things are probably still overreacting to so many things and probably even being a little weird as well. So I'll kind of, hopefully in this video today attack this from both sides and kind of address everyone and hopefully have some interesting thoughts and opinions. But I think everyone just needs to relax. I think that kind of in general always, but hopefully we can make sense of some things. First, I want to plug my cash trading business really quick. If you guys have any Counter-Strike items, skins, stickers, whatever that you guys are looking to sell out of, I know a ton of people right now are scared, nervous, hesitant in the markets, looking to get out because they aren't sure if CS2 is going to be great, or they don't want to lose a bunch of money, or they think an operation's coming out soon, or this or that or whatever. I've seen a ton of people trying to cash out, panic selling, whatever. So if you're looking to do that, if you're looking to get into cash, if you'd rather hold cash right now than items, hit me up and we can figure something out. Actually, just this morning for this video, I just bought like 40 Fnatic Paris hollows from this guy. A lot of people don't believe in Paris right now. I do. So if you're looking to sell Paris stickers, hit me up. We can figure something out. It's a safe, efficient, effective way to turn your items into cash, crypto, Venmo, PayPal, Zelle, whatever. My Twitter is going to be linked in the description. Hit me up. We can figure something out. With that being said, let's get right into this. So, over the past couple days, people have been freaking out. Some people are saying that CS2 sucks. It's a terrible game. Valve's dropping the ball. Counter-Strike's going to be dead. And, we saw this big drop. This is the day that CS2 had its official release, September 27th. We had this giant drop in the market. This is the Esport Fire 300 graph. 300 items that Esport Fire tracks the prices of together in a kind of ETF-like way, kind of grouping them all together to track overall market trends. And you can see, obviously, on this day, the market trend was very, very negative. There's a ton of negativity, a ton of panic selling, all the things I just said. But since then, we've seen a rebound. And we've seen people on both sides. We saw, as the market dropped, we saw all the doomers saying that CS2 sucks and you guys are all idiots and see, I told you so. Look at how much the market's crashing, blah, 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 blah. I was so right. I can't believe, look at all you fools losing all this money, blah, 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 whatever. And yeah, I mean, they're a little bit right, but also we have to keep in mind the market dropped from 38,000 to 34,000. So it's like a 10% drop or something like that, which really in the grand scheme of things, a 10% drop in a day or two is huge, but a 10% drop in the market overall, if things don't get any worse from here, is not the end of the world, especially if we have some kind of recovery over the next 6 months, year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, whatever. When we zoom out, this is just going to be a tiny little blip on a graph. Now, obviously, we don't know that things are going to recover for sure, but just because things went down 10%, or obviously some items went down more than 10%, but the overall market, let's say it went down around 10% or whatever, that's not some huge, massive W for the haters. If you were sitting on the sidelines and missed out on 10% in losses, congratulations, but that's not a super success for you. And everyone who lost 10%, they're not going bankrupt, they're not homeless or anything now either. Everyone's going to be okay. Now we're seeing this recovery. Since then, people probably were panicking too much. People were probably overreacting. People were probably, FOMOing the opposite way, selling when it was a little bit unwarranted. Yes, the CS2 release was lackluster, but that doesn't mean the game's dead. That doesn't mean no one's playing it anymore. That doesn't mean you should sell everything. That doesn't mean certain skins don't still have a ton of value. That doesn't mean that new content isn't coming soon and that CS can't continue to grow. And even if it doesn't continue to grow, maybe at the rates we've seen historically, that certain items can't still be profitable investments. So we saw this rebound, and now this has people saying like, oh my god, you idiots, look at all you idiots that panic sold, and I can't believe you guys are so stupid for selling out on all your items. Thanks for letting me buy the dip. Now I got all this awesome stuff at a 10% discount and blah, 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 blah. But now that we're starting to see this recovery, we're starting to see stuff on the opposite side where, you have like the sniping snake. I don't know, this Twitter user seems pretty popular. This tweet got like 250K views. He said the CSGO market is recovering, and he, posts his eSport Fire graph of the market crashing down and then rebounding up, and he posts this picture of a dead cat bounce, and he's saying that, hey, the market's going up in the short term, but he still believes things are dead and things aren't good. So, some people are saying, oh, I bought the bottom and now I'm going to make these huge gains. He's saying, hey, maybe this is going to be another local top and you should be selling this because it's about to drop again. And, obviously he just posts like a diagram that he found on Google or whatever. This isn't anything scientific. I don't really believe in technical or chart reading or charts or whatever. I don't really think that stuff matters that much, especially in the CS markets where they are entirely irrational and don't really have anything to do with a lot of this stuff. Obviously, you can make any graph look like pretty much whatever. You can Google dead cat bounce and find a place that looks like this. I'm sure this has happened a million times throughout the history of the CS markets, and sometimes the dead cat bounces happen and the markets have gone down, and sometimes they've just recovered and things have gone up. But again, historically, the CS markets have only gone up. They have never experienced an extended downturn period. There's never been a time where the CS markets have gotten absolutely wrecked. Again, that doesn't guarantee that that will never happen going forward, but at least in my mind, logically, that makes it make sense to not overreact to a bunch of little things like this. Valve has proven they have a good grip on what they're doing. They don't always make the best decisions, but they still make good enough decisions over time to keep the game growing, to keep the game fun, to keep people loving it, and to keep the market's going up over time. And if you're betting against that, you are betting statistically against something that seems, very, very unlikely to be true. And you're betting for this is the one time out of the last 1,000 times that the CS markets are actually going to have some experience downturn, or the market's going to die, or a bunch of people are going to lose money or whatever. So I don't know. Like I said, at the end of the day, I think people are mega overreacting. Investing is supposed to be a medium to long-term thing. Right now, we are talking so much about every little movement. If the market goes up 5% in a day, people are saying, oh, yes, you idiots, we're back. CS2 is still alive. I bought the dip. If it goes down 5% in a day, people are saying, oh, CS2 is dead. You idiots. I can't believe you were buying all these overpriced items. Look at how much money you're about to lose. When really, it doesn't matter at all. The daily movements are interesting. And like I said, as a content creator, I'm going to cover the daily movements. And there is something to keep track of. You want to know how the markets are moving day to day. You want to know what's trending up, what's trending down, what the hot items are, what maybe the underrated items are, maybe overrated items are, all that good stuff. But in the grand scheme of things, these daily moves, they're not the story. They're a small piece of the story. They are puzzle pieces. They are tools or, little things that we can use to make sense of the whole grand scheme of things. This is a months-long game. This is a years-long game. This is not a days-long game. Again, CS2 having a lackluster release, it's not a great thing, but it doesn't tell the whole story. It doesn't tell the story of CS2. It doesn't tell the story of CS2 investments. It doesn't tell the story of Stockholm or Paris or Antwerp. And yeah, the Paris sale going on for longer than we would have wanted. That doesn't tell the whole story of Paris just yet. We don't know what's going to happen. So again, this doesn't mean CS2 investments are dead. This doesn't mean CS2 investments are alive. This doesn't mean Paris is dead. It doesn't mean a lot of these things that people are trying to, make it out to be. Again, we can use these tools and use some of this data to maybe make predictions or conclusions or whatever, but we don't know the whole thing yet. I also thought that this very, very interesting tweet from Zuckwiz, I don't know how you say that, but he said, hearing some people are nervous about the current skin prices, but the average player to Dragon Lore factory new price ratio, he calls it the PP ratio, looks all right. Nothing indicating it's too pricey at all. Obviously, you have to take supply of D-Lores in, but they're around 1986 skins and growing with 2 new D-Lores per month, so nothing crazy. So if I see a crazy spike in the PP ratio, I would stop up. As for what we saw in July of 2021, what are your thoughts on looking at this? And I thought this was actually pretty interesting because this is basing, some skin prices after the average concurrent players, because obviously, as the average concurrent players goes up over time, skin prices should in general go up over time. And this guy's at least saying that, hey, those ratios should be somewhat in check. And if prices start going up too much, maybe things are overrated. If prices are going down too much relative to this, hey, maybe things are underrated. Maybe it's time to buy. So what he's saying is obviously people are saying, hey, prices are getting a little bit too crazy right now. We should be worried. We should be panicking or whatever. And then he's actually saying based on this metric that things are a little bit okay and maybe prices are even a little bit underrated right now. And it might be a great time to buy the dip, not to be panic selling out. Now, again, this is pretty nerdy. I wouldn't read maybe too much into this. I think this is a pretty interesting metric, and I think this is a really, really cool idea. I don't think it's the end-all, be-all, but this is one way to kind of track the overall price of the market and see if maybe things are relatively overrated or underrated, overrated or overpriced or underpriced or whatever. And I thought this was kind of cool, and this is at least one metric or one statistic. Again, I don't know exactly how accurate it would be to use to show that maybe the market's a little bit underrated right now and maybe it's a great time to buy. Again, this is also assuming that we're going to get some new CS2 content at some point around the corner, and we will get a big spike in player base. So considering the market is still kind of stabilizing and holding up okay, despite the fact that we didn't have record-breaking player explosion and a lackluster release, I actually think that's a really great sign for the long-term health and market for CS2 and CS2 investments, because this all could have gone a lot worse. But CS2 is still a great game. It's still the best first-person shooter out there. It's still one of the best games of all time. And yes, CS2 is different than CSGO, but the basis, the foundation is still there. People still love the game. It's still a formula that works. And Valve has historically done a great job, so I have no reason to believe otherwise. But I would tell everyone on both sides to just relax. This day-to-day stuff that everyone's freaking out about right now, none of it matters. In 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, a year, you probably won't even remember, what you were freaking out about during this period. And it's probably not going to matter that much. Again, take note of what's going on in the market, but stop freaking out. And if you can't help yourself but be FOMOing in and out and up and down and blah, 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 then check the market less. Check the prices less. That's the only solution. Buy stuff that you believe in. Let it ride for an extended period of time so it can actually do something. See if you're right or wrong, and then reevaluate. Don't buy something one day, sell it the next day, buy it 2 days later, sell it 3 days later. That's not how you play this game. But that is pretty much it for this video today, guys. Hopefully I catch you in the next one. Until then, peace.